First of all, Satya, thank you so much for joining in and taking out the time on a Sunday to meet with all of us. So, for all of you who obviously know me already, I will quickly introduce Mr. Satya Prabhakar, and after that we get into the conversation. I will start with Satya's qualification. Actually, he is a BE from NIT Trichy, and he actually, after his graduation, got into all the top 4 IIMs of the country. But he chose to do an MS in computer science from the University of Florida in the US, and then he went back to US to pursue his MBA from the Warrington School of Business. Before returning to India and starting Sulekha.com, I'm sure all of you are aware of this particular name, Sulekha.com, quite a known entity in the Indian internet space. So before coming back to India and starting Sulekha.com, Satya has actually worked with companies like Honeywell and even AT&T in the US. And as I said, all of you know what is Sulekha.com. It's an online discovery platform for local services, and it connects millions of users across the country in more than 50 cities. And it spans across 200 plus categories. And Satya is also the CEO and founder of ProManage. It is India's highest rated and most awarded marketing SaaS platform for hyperlocal marketing solutions. And of course, today's topic of discussion is going to be mainly around Satya's another very interesting venture called as Capshine. He's the founder and CEO of that as well. It is India's fastest growing English learning platform, and it has lakhs of learners already on it, and it has multiple tie-ups with higher educational institutions and universities. Satya also has a deep interest in writing, chess, photography, as well as tennis and philosophy. So, the two of the last things are where we connect. I mean, I used to play tennis competitively during my school and college days, and philosophy is something that I've been interested in for as long as I can remember. And Satya is also a writer. He has recently published a book, which I have right here. It's called Alfaz Ki Mehfil. It is a collection of Urdu poetry with English interpretation. I'm halfway through this book actually, and beautifully written. I have had the chance to speak to Satya as well in person about this, and you can actually learn Urdu as you read this book while enjoy the beauty of the poetic side of the Urdu language. So we can go on with this, but that's a brief introduction of Mr. Satya Prabhakar. I will start with the topic of the discussion today. Satya, what led you to start Capshine? I mean, obviously there has been some problem area, some gap that you may have seen, and which led you to start Capshine. So please tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, and thank you for all of you for taking time on a Sunday for being here. And thank you, Vikram, for that flattering introduction. Thank you very much. So the reason what we found is that for a offering or a service like Capshine was we found that there is a vast population of Indians. I would say about 200 to 250 million Indians.
Okay.
That's about 20 to 25 crore people who have spent years studying English. They understand English, they know English, but have great difficulty in speaking English fluently.
Right.
And our research has shown that Indians, especially in India, when let's say you go to, you fly to Agra, right, for a vacation, you get into a cab and the cab driver looks back and says, ma'am, I hope you had a comfortable flight. Welcome to Agra. 6 words, 7 words spoken well. In that one instant, in your mind, you have formed an impression. And this is not my opinion, this is research.
Right.
You have formed an opinion about the driver. It can be a driver, it can be a tourist guide or anyone.
Correct.
And research has shown that the impression you have about that person has 3 components. 1, you think that person is smart. Don't ask me why people think so. This is what they think. They think he's smart. They think he's professional. The third one, which you will find it very surprising, they will think he is honest.
Okay.
Just he said one line or two lines in English, and he spoke well, fluently. People have a very positive and good impression about that individual. Right? It may be because we associate English fluency with somebody who is well educated, in professional circles, and who is part of a very cultivated, civilized society.
Right.
Caste is not the class divider of India today. Gender is not the class divider of India today. Religion is not the class divider of India today. English is the class divider of India today.
True, absolutely.
You will never find, or it will be very rare for you to find someone who speaks English fluently and is not doing well. One who speaks English fluently, who is not in the top 10% of income earners of India. Rare, very rare, right? So, and it again, research has shown that in most jobs, only 15% of success is linked to technical competence.
Okay. Only 15%.
This is not my opinion, it is research. 85% has to do with soft skills. Soft skills starts with communication.
Yep.
The ability you can to speak fluently, to speak confidently, and to speak without error. Right. That's the foundation on which you build a soft skills things, right? So, the key to success, it does not matter whether you are a tourist guide or an ophthalmologist or a lawyer or a fitness trainer. Doesn't matter. Right. Your success and your ability to earn more money depends upon your fluency in communicating in English. Right? I know, I'm sorry, I don't mean to this one. I live in a building where there are physical fitness trainers who come to train the residents in this wing. They're the ones who speak English well. They are paid about 1,500 to 2,000 rupees an hour.
Right.
Whereas I'm sure the other, generally when you get somebody, it's about 500-600 rupees. People are willing to pay because you are associating yourself with a different class of people. Right? Because that class of people, they need some who is cosmopolitan, they're comfortable with people who speak English. So there are various things. You can call it the Indian inferiority complex. It doesn't matter what you think. That's not even the point.
Right.
Life is what it is, right? You have to deal with it.
Yes.
Right? This is life. This is how people are, right?
Yes.
In India, if you're fair complexion, people think you're beautiful. You can't change the consumer mindset. The consumer mindset is what is. You can only adapt to it and succeed with it. You got to flow with the current, right? We asked ourselves, why is it that people have difficulty after learning English for 12 years? Why do you struggle to speak English? And when we did the research, we found two things. One is they lack opportunities to converse, to speak with somebody in English.
Right.
So if you don't have safe spaces, I call it a safe space because you can't learn to speak English occasionally speaking to your boss, occasionally speaking to a client, a big client, occasionally speaking to somebody who is an authority figure, right? You can never develop your fluency that way.
Correct.
You got to develop your confidence by talking to people at the same level in a non-threatening environment.
Yeah.
When you have that, that's how you're developing your fluency. Right? The second thing has to do with common mistakes that Indians make. People usually say, I can able to, right? The moment you say, I can able to, I can guarantee you, the other person will have a lower impression about you.
Absolutely.
Because they think you're not sophisticated enough, right? So what we did was for Capshine is to provide ample opportunities for people who do not have fluency in English to do two things. One is to have multiple opportunities to speak in real time with a group of people just like you,
right,
being observed by a coach or a monitor who will help you in a very friendly way.
right.
And that monitor is not a teacher. He's not a guru, where you can look up to. He's just a friend who is very good at English.
Right.
So by giving opportunities, giving various topics for you to speak to, and then correcting your mistakes through vernacular videos. Right? You have 4 videos, one in Hindi, one in Tamil, one in Telugu, one in Malayalam. 2 to 3 minute video that will tell you why I can able is wrong and how you can fix that mistake. Right? That's all we do. We don't do anything. It's not complicated. We are not here to master English. We're not here to write English poetry or English prose. English is purely as a means to an end, which is be fluent in how you speak, and to remove mistakes. If you do these 2 things, you will fly. Right. That's how we can put that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Satya. Also, you spoke about the fact that we learn English for 12 years and still we are not able to converse. We are probably able to understand it very well. We are able to write it, but we are not able to speak it. That's something that I resonate with very, very, at a personal and individual level, because I went to an English medium school for 10 years. And even after that, the entire studying was in English. But when I came out of my home state and I was exposed to environments where I had to speak in English, I realized that I absolutely do not have the fluency. Although I used to write essays and other things. I could understand the language. I read a lot, but still, the practice of saying, speaking in that particular language, as you said, that is the most critical thing. And I think most of our audience here also suffers from the same thing, because that safe environment that you said is very, very important, because without that fear of being mocked, without that fear of being looked down upon when we are trying to learn the language, when we are trying to get that practice in, I think that's a very, very important thing. And Capshine provides that safe environment, as you said. And I think that is one of the biggest game changers as far as getting the practice of the language is concerned. Thank you for sharing that, Satya. Satya, you shared the screen. Yes, please go on.
I'm sharing the screen. I want to tell you why it happens.
Yeah, sure.
Let's take a physical trainer, right? Is very good at what he does or she does. I have a picture of a lady trainer also.
Right.
He wants to say something.
Right.
Typically, what happens is what he does because of lack of, and he wants to say that in English.
Right.
And what happens is he first translates into his local language, his own mother tongue, right?
Yeah.
And then converts it into English.
Right.
When this happens, there are 2 things that happen. One is hesitation.
Yeah.
Because you're going through one extra step in between, right? And error.
Yeah.
These 2 things happen because of that.
Correct.
By providing you with opportunities to convert and to convey your thoughts into English directly, you will eliminate this. Right? So there is no translation going on. Suppose, because I know, I'm much older than all of you, I have a lot of many years experience. So when I want to say something, my mind immediately, right, converts it into English. It doesn't go through my local language. And I'm able to speak, right? Speaking Hindi is the same way. I have learned Hindi for 12 years. Now, even today, even though I know Hindi very well, I know Urdu very well, I translate Urdu poetry, I'm very competent in both languages.
Right.
बात करने में बहुत मुश्किल होता है हमको, right? Difficult things, I have a hard time expressing it. I have to think how to say it, what to say, right?
Right.
So what Capshine has done, we have trained lakhs of students.
Yeah.
There's one word that people say Capshine does to them. You know what that word is?
Would love to know. Liberating.
Liberating.
Right.
They are now fearless.
Yes.
They can now go and talk to anybody. They don't shy away from conversations. They don't withdraw themselves from social situations, right?
Right.
Black and white becomes color.
Right.
And it is a skill that you take everywhere you go.
Right.
Because most of the day you're talking, man. You're not, what are you doing? You're communicating, right?
Correct.
And that's what this does.
Right.
And this does by offering, it's called a revolutionary learning together program. Talk time sessions, activities, job interviews you guys don't need, live classes, video lessons, error correction videos, right? All simple, all available in the app. You can participate from anywhere in India. You don't need to go to a classroom. You don't need to listen to a teacher for 1 hour, right?
Right.
So, for example, this talk time session, right? Your favorite clothes and shopping experiences. That's the topic. You log into Capshine from the morning 9 to evening 11. Every hour there is a talk time session. Right. You can sign up to any session, and the session has got a topic, and it has prompts. For example, you see the next one, a dream company you wish to work for. He'll ask you, what is your dream company? Why do you want to work there? If money is not a concern, which profession would you choose? So by putting you in different conversational topics, knowing that there are 10 people listening to you, but it is not a threatening environment, it's a safe environment. There's a coach, and the coach gives you help in 6 months, and the coach gives you feedback as to how you're speaking, right?
Right.
And they give you a fluency tracker, how you're progressing.
Okay.
All these things, right? So that's what I meant by, right? But the thing is this, what is key is, see, unless you change on the inside, listen to me, this is my wisdom of many years.
Right.
Unless you change on the inside, the world outside will not change for you.
Right.
The only change that you will see in the outside world is when you change yourself. No amount of praying to God, no amount of asking others for help will change anything. Take it from me. Nothing works. The only thing that works is you have to change yourself. And when you change yourself, the world will conspire to help you. Right? Your English, unless you work on it, it won't change. Unless you commit to yourself, nothing will change. Nothing will improve. But I will tell you one thing, I can guarantee you in writing, right? That's why we have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. After 6 months, you say, I didn't get any value from it, you will get all your money back. guaranteed, no issues, right?
Right.
So
Right.
the thing is this, which is that small changes you make every day
Right.
will lead to astonishing progress in 6 months.
Mm.
I will guarantee you that.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Right? So consistency of spending like 1 hour every day
Mm. Mm.
towards improving English in 6 months, it's a new you.
Right.
People around you will not recognize you.
Absolutely.
I know it because as a kid, I used to have a very severe speech problem. I used to have stammering. Even right now I do. You would have sensed it if you observed closely. But I have overcome that and I've improved my fluency in English, right?
Mm.
Only through effort. And you have to put in that effort. If you put in that effort, it'll change. You shouldn't see it as an expense of time. You should see it as an investment in your future.
Absolutely.
Because you're all here today because of what you did in the past, correct?
Yes.
Tomorrow is made today.
Absolutely.
Understand that. Tomorrow is made today.
Yes.
I'll tell you 2 life lessons. Each one has 4 words. Write it down. Look at it every day. It'll change your life.
Sure.
You ready?
Absolutely.
Tomorrow is made today. It is you have to work on your tomorrow today. If you change yourself today, tomorrow will be a much better future. Tomorrow is made today. The second thing is discipline sets you free.
Right.
If you're disciplined enough in investing in yourself by improving your skills, you'll be a free person. It is the ones who are not disciplined about what they do, they're chained and shackled and they can never run.
Right.
So the habit of discipline, the habit of investing in yourself is the one that's going to change. And at Capshine with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, we will create a new you. And I am evidence of it, and Vikram himself is an evidence of it. He has got spectacular fluency, articulation. He does a great job. He does a superb job. So, and he has built it himself, right? But nobody can make you fluent, man. Nobody can do it for you. Right. Anything in life, you got to do it yourself. Deal with it, right? I mean, how can anybody change your fluency? You can't. Nobody can. You have to work it. You have to invest in it. You have to make the difference, right? So that's my advice to you.
Absolutely. And in fact, Satya, we keep taking an analogy from from the gym environment, because all of us are from the background of the fitness industry, and we always say that you cannot be thinking about or planning about going to the gym and lifting and weight and expecting you to become fit body, right? So it's exactly like that. So if you want to improve your English, you cannot be thinking about it or reading about it or watching videos about it. You have to work at it, as Satya very correctly pointed out. Another thing that I want to highlight here, Satya, is the second advice that you gave about discipline setting you free. I think that's very interesting, is because a lot of people see discipline as actually a binding thing, right? I mean, that's how a lot of people sort of, the perception is that way, that if I have to be in a schedule, if I have to do this, then it's more of a bondage than seeing discipline as something that really actually sets you free. And I would like to sort of throw some more light on it, because I think that's very important, the way you put it, rather than people seeing very strict schedule and being in that schedule for long periods of time and then getting the results out of it, rather than seeing it as a bondage, changing your perspective to seeing it as something that will liberate you. So please throw some light on that particular aspect.
Yeah. So I think people who think discipline is confining, I have no other word to say, they're idiots.
Yeah.
They will not ever succeed in life. Because even artists like, you take people like Shah Rukh Khan. You should watch some of Shah Rukh Khan's videos, right?
Yeah.
How much he talks about discipline, how much he talks about hard work, right? He's an artist. How can artist be disciplined? It makes no sense, but it makes all the sense, right?
Yes.
So you got to ask yourself, you got to ask a lot of human beings, all or not your fitness trainers, right? While you're talking about fitness training, another phrase came to my mind: pain precedes growth.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Yes.
I also go to the gym, if you're exercising, right?
Yeah.
Unless it hurts you, you're not building muscle. Right? You must feel the stress and the strain in your arms for you to know that you are getting stronger. So pain always precedes growth, whether it's pain of investing time or pain of exercise, it precedes growth. It's the same here. You got to endure the pain of developing your English language fluency before you see growth.
Right.
That is the price you have to pay for success.
Correct.
Price of time and small investment of money, right? So the reason is, I ask people, guys, how much time does it take for you to, in the morning, for you to, brush your teeth, shave, take a shower, do other things necessary? Maybe half an hour every day, right?
Yeah.
I ask people, how many people do it every day? Everybody raises their hand, right?
Yeah.
I then ask, how many people exercise for 15 minutes a day? I would say out of 100, maybe 10 people. Other 90 don't do it. So the question is this: why is it you find easy to spend 60 minutes doing things, like half an hour doing things, like brushing your teeth and, taking a shower and combing your hair?
Right.
But you can't find 15 minutes to do exercise.
Right.
The reason being that anything you convert into a ritual. What is ritual? Ritual is something you do without thinking. I don't think you ask yourself, hey, today should I take a shower or not?
Yeah.
Right? You just go into the shower, take a shower.
Yeah.
There's no thinking.
Right.
Anything you do without thinking is a ritual. Correct? Anytime you have to think whether should I exercise or not exercise, what you're doing is that you are consuming some of your willpower. The willpower is there in the front of the brain. It's called the prefrontal cortex.
Yes.
That is the decision-making part, which in the brain is the smallest part of the brain. In the human beings, that has evolved only recently, in the last about a million years, right?
Yes.
So the more of the prefrontal cortex or the decision-making part of the brain that you consume, the fewer things you can do. Right? So when you spend 15 minutes exercising, let's say you do yoga, you do Surya Namaskar, or you have some kind of some routine, some push-up routine, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If the 15 minutes you do without thinking, should I do it or not do it? That is when it becomes a ritual. Right? The more things, good habits you convert into rituals, the more things you can do in life. Anytime you have to think, should I do it or not, you are a loser. Because you're eating into the decision-making part of the brain, and you can only do so many things, right?
Which is limited.
Which is limited.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do, right? If you work for 18 hours, you have to sleep for 6 hours. Nothing you can do, right? Brain is like that. So that's why discipline is important, in the sense you got to do something repeatedly and consistently until it becomes a ritual. Then it will stop eating into your brain power. Then you can use your brain power to do something else, right? So that's the reason when say discipline sets you free, that's why it's important. So the more things you can convert into habits, rituals, the more successful you'll be. That's why discipline is so important, right? So when people say, I don't have time, don't believe them.
Yeah.
That is complete bullshit.
Absolutely true.
What they're actually saying is that I'm not inclined.
Yeah. I don't want to prioritize, probably.
I don't love it. It's not important to me. I'm not inclined towards it.
Yeah.
So lack of time is an excuse.
Yeah. It's the
They want to
easiest
they want to put the blame on somebody else, they want to put the blame on the world, it's constraining. Whereas the problem is with the person.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? So that's what I would advise is to resolve today that you're going to change your life, and the change your life begins with becoming a good communicator. And I can tell you from my experience, the ability to communicate well will take you places, will make you immensely successful.
Absolutely.
Because whether you like it or not, most of the day you are trying to sell.
Yes.
You're selling a product or a service, you're selling an idea. Right now, I'm trying to sell you.
Yep.
Right? I'm a salesman trying to sell you to do something.
Correct.
To invest your time, to invest a little bit of your money into change, right? And you will not change yourself unless I am effective in communicating to you.
Correct.
Why it is so important.
Right.
So whether you do it with Capshine or you do it somewhere else, it's a secondary issue. That's not the most important issue. The most important issue is, am I ready to change my life? And am I willing to pay the price? First 6 months. Because once you do it, once you become fluent, the fluency builds on itself. It gets better and better and better and better. And people look at you differently, yaar. They just look at you differently when you speak English well. I can tell you that. Guaranteed.
No, absolutely correct. Absolutely. Great. Satya, before I move on to the next question, I have, again, want to highlight something that you pointed out, very, very interesting. So you said that we are always selling. And in fact, about 4-5 years ago, we came across this particular book. And this book is called To Sell is Human. And it is written by a business author called Daniel Pink. And in that book, he argues that everything that we do in our life, professionally or even personally, is essentially selling. Right from selling yourself at an interview, or convincing your parents to allow you to go on holiday when you're young, or even proposing to your partner. So
you're right, Vikram. I have been married for 36 years.
Right.
This morning, I was trying to sell my wife to go to a Sufi festival in Rajasthan in February. So it took me 10 minutes to convince her to go with me.
Right. So you did one of the most difficult selling activities in the morning before coming to the session.
That's correct.
Convincing your wife, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So yes, and also fitness professionals, Satya, very specifically speaking, have had this. This I know from my experience also, has had this sort of a mind block that we are professionals, we are technically sound, we have the knowledge base, we are not quote unquote salesmen, right? So that is a sort of a mind block that a lot of people, even in other professions, I think they think like that a lot of times. They think of sales as a very specific departmental work that happens within an organization, who are supposed to make, let's say, this number of calls and be behind people and things like that. And the other jobs are seen as not sales job per se. And fitness professionals, as I said, very specifically also suffer from this mind block that, why should I do sales? While I'm a technically sound professional, I have so much value to offer. People should just come to me. So that's something, if you want to speak a little bit about the sales aspect of all professions, including fitness professionals, and also the most important aspect of sales being communication, as you already said.
Sure. Let's take 4 to 5 people in history. Let's take Lord Krishna,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ,
Mm-hmm.
Muhammad, Siddhartha Gautama,
Yeah.
the Adi Shankara. They're all very salespeople.
Yes.
They're
Right.
selling an idea,
Yeah.
saying that, hey, you must live like this, you must believe these things. They're all salespeople. I don't think there is anything in life which is not about influencing others, right?
Yeah.
If you are a trainer, let us say I come to ask you for training. I do it for 2 weeks, then I stop. What good is how good a trainer you are
Mm-hmm.
if you are not able to convince me to continue with my training program? You are no good. Your
Right.
skills are useless because it has no change in me, right? So, a
Right.
good part of a trainer is in motivating the trainee to continue, to
Yes.
invest the time, that effort to
Right.
improve their fitness and their health, right?
Correct.
So, for that, you got to talk. You can't say, hey, you want to come, you come, you don't want to come, you don't come.
Right.
Because you can make your livelihood depends upon me continuing with you, right? Otherwise, why would I pay you?
Yes. Absolutely.
So, don't think of it as selling, think of it as you changing somebody's life for the better.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing. I don't think I'm selling, whether you 20 people on the call, whether you sign up for Capshine or not do it, it's not going to change my fortunes, right? But I'm
Right.
here because I truly believe that you must change the way you are to succeed in life, right?
Yes.
Because I will tell you one thing, people respect success.
Yes.
Your own spouse, your own father and mother will look up to you if you are successful.
Yes. Absolutely.
They
Absolutely.
will still love you no matter what you do, but respect, izzat comes from success,
Yes. Yes.
right? So you got to do that, right? So, so the thing is, don't think of it as salesmanship because selling has got a wrong approach.
Yeah.
You're influencing somebody for the better,
Yeah.
right? In a sense, whether I am trying to convince you to use Capshine or you are trying to convince me to continue with a fitness program, we are both doing the same thing. I have a product of value, I have a service of value. I know that. And I'm trying to convince somebody to see that value and to acquire that value. And the only way I will be influenced, Vikram, if you come and tell me, Satya, you must work on your fitness. Hey, boss, you got to tell me why should I work on my fitness?
Yes.
Right? I mean, it is difficult every day to spend half an hour, going to a gym and exercising. Why should I do it?
Yeah.
But for that, you got to convince me. You got to tell me. You got to share your conviction with me.
Yes.
If not, how will it work? So it's not selling. It is about showing something the value in what you have to offer. Because I believe Capshine will be immensely valuable to you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the way Vikram and all of you are convinced that everybody should physically train themselves to be live healthy and a good life,
Yes.
right? Now it's a
Right.
matter of communicating to them, right?
Right. Right.
So that's why it is so important. And it's not selling, it is trying to communicate value.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
once you're able to communicate value, in the most effective way, when your
Mm.
communication is proper, well articulated, you have the right words, you have the right sentence formations to sort of convey your idea and plant that seed to the person's head that you are talking to. Then your conversions and sales or whatever those business jargons that we may want to use will happen as a byproduct. Essentially, if we are able to communicate the value, as you said. So that's where
Mm.
again, I mean, it all comes down to the topic of discussion today, that is to communicate confidently and as effectively as possible, and more so in the language of English. Satya, the next thing that I want to ask, before we probably can take some questions from the attendees as well, is today we are seeing mainly, from the pandemic time onward, a lot of things have shifted online, and the acceptance of people. Or the adoption of the virtual mediums, remote training, consultation programs, and so on has sort of reached an unprecedented high suddenly because of the pandemic and this shift in
Yeah.
technology. Zoom became a sort of a household name suddenly within just a couple of weeks when the pandemic started, and now fitness professionals have this very open world that they can actually cater to, not geographically limited like they were before. Earlier, it was, although there was some amount of online activity happening in the fitness space, but it was not as popular and not as easily adopted as it is today. They would be limited to their city or town, or the gym or the locality that they serve in. Nowadays, with some very basic setup, even from their own homes, and I have some students attending the session, right now, who are actually doing that from very small towns in from the terrace of their homes, where they've set up these small facilities, and they're serving clients in Australia, in Singapore, across all the major cities of the country.
Amazing, no?
Yes.
And I think in those situations, Vikram, your communication becomes even more important.
Exactly. So that's my point. So when I am doing something online, there are challenges, of course, right? So there is obviously there are some benefits to me conducting a training session or a consultation face to face in physical presence, and there is always, as much as we have this technology and this amazing capability to connect, there is always that little bit of constraint when we are doing something remotely. So there again, your communication actually happens to be the key factor that will sort of ensure that you can convince those people to join an online program and train with you or take consultation from you. Because as trainers also, we have always learned, and we have taught this also, that a good trainer is the one who can train without touching. So why we say that is because when you have to touch, or when you have to get a physical touch to show the client that, okay, this is where you have to bend, or this is where the bar should come, it means your cues, your verbal communication is not up to par. And a great coach will ensure that just your verbal cues get the job done. And for that, again, it becomes extremely more crucial when it comes to the online mediums, and that's where again communication comes. So Satya, in your experience, I'm sure, you have been from the pandemic onward, and because you are from a very hardcore tech background, so this digital mediums have obviously been a large part of the work that you have been doing, and how obviously your business may have been impacted. So can you throw some light on this particular aspect, where we are now, although we have this access to a global audience because of this technological mediums, but at the same time, one big sort of roadblock for us is our ability to communicate in those platforms.
Absolutely. There's nothing to, it's so obvious. Right? Your ability to come across as the three things I said at the beginning. One is smart, professional, and honest. Right? They say smart, they also mean competent, technically competent, right?
Yes.
But that's what I mean by smart, and professional means that you are a competent, qualified professional, right?
Right.
So not only will you communicate that to people, but by able to speak English fluently, you can actually expand your addressable market.
Yes.
Addressable market in the sense of you can reach out to a much wider audience, in Europe, in US, everywhere else, because English is the common thing that binds the world.
Yes.
Connects the world, the entire world into one thing is English, right? You go to France, you go to Paris, you go to Spanish. French is not spoken outside of France. German is not spoken out of Germany. Japanese is not spoken out of Japanese. Hindi is not spoken out of India. English is spoken everywhere.
Yes.
If you invest in one thing, that's English, right? That will be able to expand your entire complete market.
Correct. and also the trust factor, right, Satya? Because when I'm online, when I'm like sitting in some small town or a city or wherever, and you are not in that particular place, and you have to trust me with your fitness, also with your time and money, right? That I am saying that, oh, I can do all of this for you, and I can train you, and I can make you fit, but you are not seeing me physically present in the gym, and there is probably lack of accountability there. What if I disappear, right, from the online space? So there also, I think, as you mentioned in the beginning itself, there's those three things that immediately the moment a person starts communicating in good English, you sort of subconsciously probably tend to trust that person. You think that person is more professional, trustworthy, honest.
It is proven. There is no doubt. It is shown.
Right.
Research has proven that when you speak English, people will think you are smart, competent, and professional and honest.
Right.
That's the way it is. Right. Deal with it. Right. So.
Right.
I think that's what folks should do. They should invest. Actually, we should open it up. If anybody has questions, we can answer those questions.
Yes. Right. We have 10 more minutes to go for the session time. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. As I said, we have.
I just want to leave with one thing. Some of you may not like what I'm saying, but there is no life after this. There is only one life.
Yes.
Okay. Don't believe what people are saying that you will be reborn. You were there before. No. There's only one life. You have to make this life count. You have to invest, right?
Yes.
And change it. Yeah.
Yes.
So what you did today matters.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Super.
Yeah, let's open it up and see if anybody has any questions.
So anybody has any questions for Satya? Anything relating to your career or relating to Satya also happens to be from the segment of people that would actually be a potential client for you, right? So he obviously knows a thing or two what he would expect from a professional. That if he were to hire somebody. So I will start with a question actually, Satya, and lead the way for them. Mainly if I were a fitness professional at this point practicing, I would probably like to know from you, if you were to hire, let's say me as a fitness professional today, or any one of us in this attendance today. So apart from my qualifications, what are obviously we spoke about communication enough today, but anything that you would specifically think about? You mentioned in the beginning that people are willing to obviously pay a lot higher fees for people who are just able to simply communicate in English, and this is something that we have seen in our own experience as well. So if you were to hire a fitness professional today, Satya, a consultant today, for your own fitness journey, let's say, what are the top 2-3 things that you would look at?
Competence, technical competence. I don't know how to assess. Right. So that won't be in my consideration factor also.
Right.
Because I'm not this expert guy who is trying to get to a next level of fitness. I'm just an ordinary person trying to get some fitness going.
Right.
So your technical competence, I won't be able to evaluate. I don't even know. Correct. The fact that somebody referred you itself is enough. And the fact that you are making a living off fitness training tells me that you know something about fitness training more than I do.
Right.
That to me is enough. So if you think I'm going to hire you for your fitness competence, training competence, you're wrong. What will I look for? I will look for 3-4 things. One is, can I communicate with this guy?
Right.
One. Second thing is he a personable, friendly person? Who will teach me? Second thing is, will he be prompt? Will he be punctual? And so on. Right. Cost matters. But for certain class of people, cost is not the problem.
Sure. Absolutely.
For me, please don't mistake me. Whether you charge me 1,000 rupees or 1,200, it's not going to make a difference to me.
Right. Absolutely.
I'll pay as long as I trust you, as long as I have a relationship with you. I'll happily pay.
Right.
Actually, I'll just say this to you. During COVID, actually, I didn't go to the hair cutting salon. I used to get a guy to come and cut for my hair, right?
Okay.
So I stopped going to salon since COVID. So the guy comes and cuts my hair. I pay him 1,000 rupees extra every time for the convenience of it. Every time he comes, I give him one bottle of beer,
Okay.
and I pay for his kids' education. So it's a relationship,
Wow. Okay.
and it builds, and
Right.
it builds over time, right? So that's what I would say is that technical competence is really not the most important thing.
Right. Right.
Most important thing for me is communication. Is a friendly person. Is a those kinds of things matter. That's what I said initially. Only 15% is competence. 85% is everything else.
The soft skills, yes, yes, yes. And I'm very glad actually, Satya, you mentioned this, because for all of you attending, I would like to again highlight what just Satya said, because I know for all of you, because I have been interacting with all of you for a while now. You think that the highest sort of value that you bring to the table when you are doing a high stakes client communication is your certification. That's what we generally think, right? And that is something which is true also at the very basic level, which is
You need to know what you're doing,
right,
right?
right,
But that threshold of qualification you must have.
correct, absolutely,
After that, it doesn't matter.
right, right, right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It don't matter.
So for the client, so as Satya said, if he were in the client's place, which he is obviously, I mean, he would tomorrow, if he wants to hire a fitness professional, these are the things, as he mentioned, he would want to evaluate on. He would not be able to evaluate a person on the technical skills, because that awareness that what certification is good. It is not like the medical industry where we have an Indian Medical Association, and looking for a doctor's registration is going to tell you that, oh, he's a properly qualified doctor or not. Our industry is not yet that regulated, and the awareness is very, very low. All of us know this. So even for somebody of a stature of Mr. Satya Prabhakar would not really be able to assess a personal trainer on the basis of the technical competency. So what he will look at is obviously the ability to communicate what you are saying and what value that you can bring. Are you going to be able to build that trust while that window of communication that you get? And it is always that one window that you get, right? So you don't get like 10 different opportunities to interact with a high stakes client. You will get that one window of opportunity, and in that you have to deliver, and you have to put that value through. And that's where, again, being extremely effective with your communication, and mainly, as we were discussing today, being extremely fluent in English, will change the game for you. It has changed the game for me over the years, and as Satya said, he has seen it enough in his career. He is very, very senior in terms of position as well as age from us. So that's what I want to highlight, and we can probably take a couple of questions. We have a few minutes, so if anybody has any questions. Satya, you want to add anything, or if anybody
Let them ask.
Sure. Any questions, please? Okay.
Sir, if it's all about the English and how we can speak English, and if we are talking in English, we will be confident in front of our clients. Then how can we learn this English properly?
Okay. So what Dave, Satya, you got the question?
I didn't.
So right. So Dave is asking if he understood what we said today, that it is completely and entirely about communication ultimately. And as you said, 15% is technical communication, technical competence, and rest is soft skill. So how do we go about improving it, is what he is asking. How do we go about working on it?
I just explained to you. You just have to put yourself in situations, right? You have to put yourself in situations where you develop that skill. Right? If you want to play a sport, if you want to play a musical instrument like a guitar, you want to play shuttle badminton, how do you become good at it? You got to keep playing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Right. Right. So, Dev, that is what the whole point is, right? I mean, as we were discussing, समझिए अगर आपको स्विमिंग सीखना है, स्विमिंग में अच्छा होना है, तो आपको पूल में उतरना पड़ेगा. अगर आपको साइकिलिंग एज अ मोड ऑफ एक्सरसाइज यूज करना है और आपको साइकिलिंग नहीं आता है, तो फर्स्ट आपको साइकिलिंग सीखना पड़ेगा. देन यू कैन यूज इट एज अ मोड ऑफ एक्सरसाइज. Similarly, when you want to use English as a tool for your career development, for your professional development, you have to invest yourself in learning the language, being able to speak well, speak fluently. And for that, what we are talking about today, what the platform that Satya has founded and is the CEO of currently is Capshine. So aap sab logo ko in the group that we have created for this session, the team can share the link for the app. You can go and check out the particular app. वहाँ पे आपको बहुत सारे अच्छे resources मिलेंगे to start working on your English at a very dedicated level, in a very sort of a disciplined fashion. Or at the same time, जो very very important thing about English communication is what we have been discussing today, is the part about practice, right? आपको समझ में आता है लेकिन आपको बोलने में दिक्कत होती है, और उसका सिंपल एक ही रीजन, that is lack of practice. The more you practice, the better you will become. But where do you practice? That's the problem, right? You cannot suddenly today go and start talking to your family in English, right? You suddenly cannot go to your group of friends and start speaking in English, right? It is difficult to do that in your current environment. So that's where the Capshine applications, Vivek has already downloaded. Superb. So the great value proposition that this application brings is those live classes, or not classes actually, those are practice sessions, right? So उसमें आप जैसे और students आएंगे, उसमें एक monitor होंगे जो teacher नहीं होंगे, right? So you will be a monitor who will just monitor the session, और आपको एक general सा topic दिया जाएगा, अलग अलग topic होंगे about your career, about shopping, about hobby, about various other things, and you will be asked to speak on it. And those kind of practice sessions, if you keep doing it over a period of time, वो जो safe environment की हम बात करते हैं, जहाँ पे आपको एक ऐसा जगह मिले जहाँ पे आप freely बात कर पाओ, वो practice आप कर पाओ, right? मुझे exercise करना है लेकिन मेरे आसपास कोई exercise करने के लिए सुविधा ही नहीं है अगर, तो मैं कैसे करूँगी, right? So similarly, that is what the roadblock you guys are facing, कि आपको English बोलना है, आपको practice करने की भी इच्छा है, लेकिन कहाँ करोगे practice? So for that, this application provides you with that particular practice space. It's a safe space. Nobody is going to judge you there. कोई आप पे हंसने वाला नहीं है. कुछ गलत बोल गए तो वहाँ पे कोई mocking नहीं होने वाला है. Right? So वहाँ पे आप जैसे ही और students होंगे जो सब लोग सीखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, और एक बहुत अच्छे English communication fluent टीचर लेवल के पर्सन वो क्लास को मॉनिटर करेंगे, वो सेशन को मॉनिटर करेंगे, और वहाँ पे आप अगर प्रैक्टिस करोगे, और ये चीज अगर आप 6 महीने करते हो, जैसे मिस्टर प्रभाकर हैज सेड, it will be a new you, as he said. Yeah. You invest 6 months of your time, you do this, you practice this, you get into those sessions, and you ensure that you speak, and you do this for 6 months. You will look at yourself in the mirror and you will be proud. That we can promise.
Yes.
There's a nice Urdu poetry, if I may allowed to say it.
Yes, please, Satya. Yes, we'd love.
खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना, खुदी को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा अपने बंदे से पूछे, बोल तेरी रजा क्या है. Right? He says that make
Yes.
yourself so strong.
Yes.
At every turn of fate, God will ask of his child, what is it that you want?
Right. Superb.
Well,
Superb.
Somebody was about to ask a question. What is that? Debba Brata Dash?
Yes.
He asked. You want to ask more, Dev?
No, sir. Unclear.
He has asked already.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Satya, for that beautiful couplet, and we know your love for Urdu poetry, and thank you for sharing that with us. And I think if there are no questions, we are also at the end of the time of the session. We can close this session. It was super, Satya, to have you.
One last thing is, don't ask for work-life balance. There's no such thing.
Good you bring this up. This is the hot topic on LinkedIn nowadays. I think this is the hottest.
Don't ask for an easy life, man. You won't never get it.
Yes.
Actually, if you work hard now, your future will be easy.
Yeah.
If you take it easy now, your future will be hard. You decide what you want.
True.
I hope you'll all join Capshine. We would welcome you. We will ensure you will succeed, and we have a satisfaction guarantee. So you have nothing to lose. Okay? All right.
Thank
Great.
you so much, Satya.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
a
you so
superb session. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in on a Sunday. Satya, thank you so much once again for taking out the time.
All right. Great.
Thank you, Team Capshine. I'll see you all again. Bye-bye. Happy Sunday.